Good morning, young people. This is Mr. Fogo, and we are ready to start Unit 206, Applying for a Job. Here in the Employability Skills class, reminder, it is a graduation requirement. Okay, young people, Unit 206. I want you to make sure that you have your Sitting Guild documents ready so we can stop when the information is presented and you can type in the information in the documents. You can have discussions with your partner. Your teacher can do some extra teaching to support you filling out the information correctly. So let's look at the two main objectives within Unit 206. Know different ways of applying for jobs and being able to apply for a job. Now, under Learner Outcome 1.1, we want you to list different ways for applying for a job. Under Learner Outcome 2.1, we want you to give examples of information needed to apply for a job. And then Learner Outcome 2.2, we want you to complete an application for a job. Let us now zero in on the goal, know different ways of applying for jobs. Learner Outcome 1.1 asks you to list different ways of applying for jobs. And if you look at the screen, some examples are application form. This could be paper-based or it could be online. Some jobs you can apply via email, in person, on the telephone. Skype is something old, but you can do Zoom or Google Meet or another application that allows for video input. You can do a letter and you can also do a video. Now it's your turn, young people. Applying for a job. What are some ways that you can apply for a job? Did you walk in and have an interview face-to-face? Did you have an online interview? Did you complete an application? Did you have an interview on the telephone? Pause the video now so you can type in your answers. Learner Outcome 2.1, you need to write down the information that you will need to give when applying for a job. Type your information beside each prompt on the document that you see here. We're going to play a video. You can watch the video and then you can type in the information that you need.
You're shopping at the mall when you spot a pair of sneakers you've always wanted to buy. But once you pick it up to look at the price tag, you realize it's a bit out of your budget. Well, what about a new jacket? Still out of your budget. What about a new t-shirt? Also out of your budget. So you go home, pull out your laptop, and start applying to jobs. But there's one problem. You don't know how to do that. So this piece of paper right here is the key to employment. Can you guess what it is? I'm gonna turn it around in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. It's your resume. This is your sales pitch, and the stuff you put on this paper has to convince an employer that you are qualified for a job. But what do you put on it? Information about your education, prior work experience, and skills. But I can already imagine what you're thinking. Gohar, I'm only 17. I don't really have any work experience. Plus, the only skills that I have are procrastinating on my homework. Look, employers aren't dumb. They're not expecting 17-year-olds to have years of work experience. That's why your resume will instead highlight your extracurricular activities. For example, things like club, sports, or community service. If you have relevant experience, great. But for your first job, all you have to do is convince the employer that you have the traits, not necessarily the skills. In other words, prove that you're responsible, organized, and work well on teams, because chances are you will learn everything else on the job. Now, don't go crazy with your resume. I know you might feel tempted to list down every single club you've been part of throughout your high school career, but look, unless you're Bill Gates, Elon Musk, or Sam Altman, there is absolutely no reason your resume should be more than 1 page long. Now, 16-year-old Gohar had a hard time internalizing this. I remember the first resume I made was about 2 pages long, maybe it was even 3. It was rough. Okay, but how should you format your resume? Instead of yapping away, let me show you an example from none other than Harvard University. I will also link this template in the description below. So the typical student resume consists of 4 sections: education, experience, activities, and skills. At the top, you're gonna list your name, your contact information, and your website if you have one. It's nice to make one just in case. In the education section, list the high school or college you attend, along with your GPA and maybe even your SAT or ACT score. Now the experience and activity sections applications are structured pretty much identically. If you don't have any experiences, that's fine. Just get rid of this section and fill out the activity section. So for each activity, you're going to list the organization name, your position, the location, and the duration. Underneath this, you're going to describe your activity.
Your resume and your cover letter will not be going in the Sitting Guild portfolio, but you need to keep them on hand for your graduation requirement electronic portfolio. It's job application time. Apply for that job so they will pick you as the suitable candidate, because that's the official reason for the application. It's given to you with a wide range of questions. It's legally defensible, and it can stand as a way to introduce yourself to your future employers. Make sure you have that Sitting Guild document ready, 2 pages for the application. But first, we are going to listen to this video to talk about completing an application for your dream job.
What's up, my teens and tweens? Welcome back to Big Sis Talk. It's your Big Sis Bree here, and today's video is going to be about tips and strategies on filling out a job application the correct way. And I know you're probably like, Bree, you just fill the application out. Yeah, that's some of it. However, if you do not want your application to go to the bottom of the pile, or even worse, if you don't want your application to go into the trash, watch this entire video and let's get right into it. So the first thing that I would love to talk to you guys about is reading the application in its entirety. You want to read through the application to ensure that you are following the directions correctly. You guys, I will never forget. I was filling out an application at the table for, I think it was Zaxby's. Yeah, I was filling out an application in 10th grade to work at Zaxby's, and I was filling it out. I was on the last part, and my mom came by and was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, filling out a job application. I'm 15 now, I can work. And my mom was like, "I get that, but what are you doing?" And I'm like, filling out an application. And she was like, with a gel pen? And y'all know, I don't even know if kids even use gel pens now, but gel pens used to have like 3 colors in one, and they used to make this little glittery glossy, and it just looked so cute. And I was like, I'm gonna fill my application out with this. They're gonna be like, "Ooh, she's so creative," and give me the job. No. My mom was like, "Did you read the instructions?" And I said, "Yeah, I read the instructions." And then I'm reading through it again. In big, bold letters, it said, "Fill out application in black or blue ink pen." Y'all, I already knew I wasn't gonna get the job because I didn't follow the directions. So first things first, read through the application. So the second thing that I want to talk to you guys about is availability. Now, when I was in high school, I used to just write anytime in the availability section. Don't do that. The reason I say don't do that is because you are not available at every time of the day. So if you go to school, you have to calculate, okay, I'm gonna be in school from 7:15 to 3:30, so I definitely can't do those hours. And then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I go to basketball practice or cheerleading practice from 3:30 to 6:30, so I can't do those times on those days. You wanna make sure that you give the job your correct availability. It has been plenty of times where people have gotten fired because they can't show up for the hours the job gives them. So always make sure that you know your availability, when you can work, when you cannot work. And also include your parents on this, because half the time they might be taking you to work. Always know your availability so that you can fill out the application correctly. So this third part of this application is very, very important. They're asking you about money. Now, I know as a teenager, you're probably like, okay, so how much I want to get paid? $10 an hour. Yes, that's what I want. No, the best thing to do for this part of the application is to put up for negotiation. This tells the person that, they might be wanting something that I might not be able to give, but they're able to compromise if the numbers are right. So if you go ahead and put up for negotiation, when you get to the actual job interview, you and the company can decide together on an amount that will work for the both of you. Never put an amount. Always put that it's negotiable. Moving right along into the application, we are now to a point where they're asking you about your schooling. Be honest. Most of these companies now who hire teenagers also offer scholarships for college, also offer scholarships while you're in high school to prepare for college, and you never want to lie and get caught up. You want to make sure that you are being so transparent. If you have a 2.7, write a 2.7, because one thing you would hate to happen is that you put a 3.0 and they say, well, guess what, Johnny? You qualify for our scholarship. They ask you for your transcripts and now you looking dumb. You looking dumb. You know why you're looking dumb? Because you lied on your application. On this part, say I go to this school, I am in this program, I have this GPA, I have not graduated yet, I am still enrolled, and these are the extracurricular activities that I do. Do not lie and say you do things or have things that you do not have, because it always comes back to bite you in the butt if the people ask for proof. So this next part of the application is something that is included on almost every application that you'll probably have now as a teenager and when you become an adult. They want to get references. Now, a reference is somebody who can vouch for you and say that your personality and that your character and the things that you do are absolutely true. I chose my pastor. I also asked a lady who I volunteered tutoring with, and then I also asked one of my classroom teachers. You want to choose people who are going to say positive things about you. And I don't want to forget this. Ask your references in advance if they can do this for you. Always ask in advance, always ask credible people, always ask an adult. Okay, so this next part, y'all, I really hate these parts of applications because I feel like they're the same thing they're going to ask you in the interview. But because I'm teaching y'all how to fill out job applications, you always want to prepare for this part. And that part is, why should we hire you for our company? At the end of the day, that is going to be a question that every company asks you. So my suggestion would be to prepare your answer in advance. One thing that I normally say is, I want to work for your company because I love how they give back to the community. I love how they take teenagers and invest in their education and also help them grow through the company. I also feel like my extrovert personality and my leadership skills will prepare me to give the best customer service to your employees. Boom. Bam. Yes. Do I got the job? I already know I got the job after I give you an answer like that. Always think about that question. Use some things that's on their website to help you, and be honest about how you can really help the company. All right, you guys, we are at the end of the application, and guess what's there? A test. Yes, a lot of job applications, especially fast food chains, ask you to take a test on how to add and subtract money. You have to know how to add and subtract money, hunty. You have to. Because one thing that companies think about is that if they didn't have technology, would you be able to add and subtract money so that your register doesn't come up short every single day? I'm just saying, make sure you know how to add and subtract money. All right, you guys, these are my tips and suggestions on how to fill out a job application perfectly so that you can get that job of your dreams. If this helped you, please press that like button. If you are new here and love this video, go ahead and subscribe, and make sure to hit that notification bell. And until next time, my loves, bye.
It is now time to complete that application so you can get one step closer to being hired. So Learner Outcome 2.2, you have to fill in your information to complete this job application. Make sure you fill in all the areas. Some areas you may have to make up to complete the application. The idea is that you can show us that you can complete a full application. Another important part as you go to the end, make sure you include your electronic signature, the date, and also put the name and contact information for your references. Pause the screen now so you can complete the 2-page application. Congratulations, you have completed Unit 206, Applying for a Job. You have looked at ways of applying for a job. You have looked at the documents that are required to apply for a job, and you have also completed a job application. So well done, and we pray that you will be hired on your job hunting journey. Please take the time now to check your work, look for common errors, common omissions, common mistakes, and then one final check, get your partner to check your work for you before you submit the work to your teacher. All the best.